Jane, going deep on me. When I was little, I wanted to be a star, like quite literally, like I wanted to be a star. So I've never formally studied art. I've never gone to university for art. I'm self-taught. I think that AI has its place, but I hate it. I don't know when a painting is done. So I was born in New York City, but I was raised in the Maryland, DC area. I moved around a lot, quite a lot. From there, I moved to Atlanta, and I lived in Atlanta for 4 years. From Atlanta, I moved to Jersey, and yeah, that's where I am now. It's weird. I don't think I feel like I've made it as an artist. Art for me is just what I love to do and how I express myself and how I keep my sanity. My message when it comes to art is really to practice being a witness to the world in front of you. Sam Gilliam said that all abstraction is political because it makes you or forces you to think about what you don't know. It forces you to go beyond what you actually can name and label and go to a place of mystery, question, challenging your perspective of what you think you know, right? And to find beauty in things that may not be so beautiful. A lot of my work stems from a place of pain. It's funny because it's very colorful and people think it's only about beauty and happy things, but a lot of times it starts very dark within myself. And through the painting, through the process of painting, it's like I experience a type of emotional alchemy where I'm able to begin in one state, and by the time I'm finished, arrive in a better place, a place of peace, a place of gratitude, a place of clarity, right? Also grief. Grief for me, I've lost a lot of people in my life, people very close to me. And so there's pain from that, but there's also beauty from that, I feel like grief is just love, right? It's just love that you can't give to the person anymore because they're no longer here. So art allows me to express that love, express that grief in a different way. I feel things very intensely. So a lot of times, the things that are causing me grief or pain are not necessarily my own, right? So it could be just something I witnessed on the way to my studio that rubbed me the wrong way. It could be things going on in the world, it could be anything really. The world is not an ideal place all the time, and I think I sometimes struggle with that, right? So as a Black Muslim woman, that in and of itself is really hard to navigate sometimes in the art world and outside of the art world. And I think having really strong conviction in my faith and knowing that I genuinely love people, no matter what religion, no matter what race, I genuinely have a love for humanity. And I think I'm proud that I still have that after the pressure of being other, I was born into Islam, so my mother and my father, they converted to Islam when they were in their 20s, early 20s. They married and all of their children were born Muslim. But being the rebellious kid that I am, I had to study for myself. So I went through a period of studying everything from Buddhism to Hinduism, Judaism. I was even hanging with the Rastas. I was doing a little bit of everything to really understand and just learn what else is out there. And I kind of just circled back around to Islam. I never was not Muslim, but I was always studying to just learn about other faiths. And then to the point where after I did all that studying, I took my Shahada. Again, your Shahada is the declaration of faith that you say when you want to become a Muslim if you are not Muslim. And even though I was born Muslim, I wanted it to be something that I chose, so I took that for myself. And I think I was around 17, 18 when I did that. Yes, I started off doing jewelry, but I also have always written poetry. Like I said, my father was a poet, and that's just something that's always come natural to me in my way of expressing. And so I think when I first started painting, my poetry was getting a little jealous. So I had to find a way to merge the two. And it happened very naturally where sometimes an idea for a poem would come to me and it wouldn't end at that. So the actual poem would create color and movement in my head. It was like I would have visual images that would come to me through the poetry. And then other times, the painting would come first, but the painting would inspire words. And so I figured, you know, why not add those words to the back of the canvas? A mentor, wow. I love Sam Gilliam. I love, there's a childhood friend of mine, the first artist I ever knew, his name is Terry, right? And if anything, I would credit him because like he's the first person I actually saw paint. And I was so in awe and so just, what was I? In my teens? Yeah, in my teens. But besides that, Nemo, it's Nemo Librizzi. He is an amazing artist. He's also, he curates shows, and he is the one that kind of like discovered me. So I source him also often for advice and help and all the things. He is Brooklyn. He's from Brooklyn. It's so funny. It's like until someone asks you a question about your process, you don't necessarily think about it because I'm a very impulsive painter. It's very sporadic. It's very insane. Like it's very impulsive. It's very spontaneous and very intuitive. So usually when I start a piece, I begin on the floor. And that's usually how I get the initial layer, and I get an idea of where I want to go from there. And after I add quite a few layers, usually it's like maybe 2 or 3 layers before I really realize that I'm finished. It being flat is like how I'm able to get the colors to kind of push and move where I want them to. And at that point, I stand the painting upright so that I can add more detail. So I paint with acrylics and I also paint with ink, oftentimes mixing the two together. It has given me some really amazing results as far as like the potency of the color and even the texture and things of that nature. So those are my main mediums, acrylic and ink. I dabble in oil, but not much. Oh my gosh, I don't. I don't know when a painting is done. Like, it kind of tells me in a way. I cannot explain how that works, but I don't know. Even when I finish a painting, oftentimes I'll walk past and I'll be eyeing it and I go back. The best advice I've ever gotten as it pertains to art. I would say my mentor, Nemo, told me very simple advice. He told me, paint even when you don't feel like it. Now that goes against everything I believe in. I'm a very like feelings person. Okay, I'm feeling it, so now I can express that feeling. But he told me like, there's something to be said about painting in discomfort, you know? Painting when your body doesn't want to paint, painting when you don't feel like it, painting when maybe you're going through something. There's something magical in that space also. And so I started doing that, and it was some of the best work I ever created.
Do you paint every day?
No, I don't. I don't paint every day. I paint quite a lot, but there are days that I don't paint, and I almost feel like giving myself those days off makes for better work when I come to it, you know?
How many hours would it take?
Oh my gosh. I paint a lot. When I'm in here, I'm in here. I have that couch over there turns into a bed. So that puts, there are nights I spend a night, I sleep over, and I wake up and I go at it. I'm recently married, so that kind of doesn't work so great anymore. But yeah, I spend a lot of time. I couldn't tell you how many hours, there's so many. The worst advice I've ever gotten was to focus on the money and to do whatever it takes to make the sale. I think that's horrible advice. I find that when I focus on the passion and I focus on the purpose and I focus on the beauty and the love of what I do, and my intention is pure, the money takes care of itself. So my first studio was in my kitchen. I was living in PG County, very close to Washington, D.C., and I was a single mother, had 2 children, recently divorced, and I was painting. You'd have the kitchen here, you had the dining room here, and I was painting in that little in-between space. So I was making dinner and then coming over here and painting and then it was very, very small, not a lot of space. But I made some beautiful work in that space, and I was surrounded by love, and it was good. And it kind of was like that for a while, like painting out of my home and having limited space and learning to work with what I have, right? No, but I was still doing the jewelry at that time. So at that time, when I was painting in my kitchen, I was still having my jewelry business, and my jewelry business was taking care of my bills. Barely, but taking care of my bills, right? But I was still painting and selling here and there, but for like very small amounts, right? And then things just kind of progressed. And really when I moved to Atlanta is when things took off. So when I moved to Atlanta, I stayed with my brother when I first got there. He had a house there. I had my 2 children with me, and we were staying in a very small bedroom, and that is where I was painting also. So it was me, my daughter, my son in this bedroom, and that's where I would get all my work done. So during the day, I would just move the bed over a certain way to give me more space, lay the canvas in the middle of the floor. It would pretty much take up the whole room because I tend to work larger scale, and I would create. I moved to Atlanta, and that is where I was discovered by Nemo Librizzi during COVID. He's like, I want to curate a show for you. And I'm like, during COVID? He's like, why the hell not?
Facebook, social media, right?
He found me on Facebook. So Nemo Librizzi found me on Facebook through another friend of mine. I think he had reposted my work or something, and Nemo had seen it, took interest in my work, reached out to me, and wanted to curate my first show in the middle of COVID. I thought it was the craziest idea, but Nemo's a little crazy. So we did that, and a whole lot of people didn't come, but the right people came. The right people came, and this was in New York. Yeah, in New York. And Isabel Sullivan of Chase Contemporary at the time, she was the director of Chase Contemporary. She took an interest in my work, and I signed a contract with them. That's how my art career officially began as far as being carried by a gallery. I would just tell them to keep creating, to know what they want, and to know that everything they want is attainable, but that things take patience. I think that we're in a culture of, I call it the microwave culture, where a lot of the youth want things to happen really quickly because that's just the age that we're in. But painting itself is a process, and therefore, anything that you want to achieve in the world of art is going to take time. And so I think I would tell them to take their time and to really focus on the work. Don't focus on the fame or the money. Really focus on the love of what you do and why you love it. And I think that things will go up from there.
I guess post on social media, right?
Yeah, definitely post on social media. Definitely post on social media, yes.
What do you think about incorporating AI into work?
I hate it. So I think that AI has its place,
But not for you.
but I hate it. I don't love it. I've been asked, to do things with AI, and maybe I'll change, right? But for now, I'm just not really interested in that world. I really appreciate the organic, and I feel like the organic is fading away so fast that I just want to hold on to it for as long as I can.
What's your current state of mind?
My current state of mind.
Are you happy at this current stage?
Yeah, I'm in a place of extreme gratitude, and I'm in a place of peace that I don't think I've experienced before in my life. I'm also, it's funny how sometimes when we think of our emotions, we think that we have to choose, right? We don't really grasp. We know, but we don't always grasp that 2 things can be true at the same time, So though I'm in an extreme space of gratitude and peace, I'm also still dealing with grief. I just lost my sister last year. My sister was my best friend. She's 2 years younger than me. She left behind a 9-month-old baby and a 16-year-old baby, which are my nieces. And so I miss her, right? And so I think that I'm, oh gosh, don't let me tear up. I think that I'm just learning to be okay with like both things being true. Learning to be okay with the grief. I used to try to fight it. Learning that it's okay. It just means I still feel, right? Like I'm still here. And so allowing myself to feel what I feel and not rejecting any part of me. And also enjoying the joy and the gratitude and the making art. And I'm doing what I love and I'm so grateful for that. So, yeah. I hate this question. Where do I see myself in 5-10 years? Hopefully very joyful. Hopefully still painting for sure. I hope I'm like 102 and still painting. Like that's the goal for me. Happy with my family, in some place warm or mild temperature weather, but definitely painting, definitely painting. As far as like very specific goals, I really want to just show my work, my art more internationally. So I'm showing in London in October. That will be my first time showing internationally. Really excited about that. I want to show everywhere though. Asia, Africa. I want to connect with people through art across the globe. That's my goal.